Okay, folks, I restarted my video here. I think that I figured out what the problem was. Alrighty. So sorry about that. Yeah, I had my phone muted. Go figure. Let me make sure my screen here is straight, and let me refresh so I can make sure that I am live, and we will try this again. So sorry for the confusion. Alrighty. So let's try this again. Carol Buckalew with Inky Stampers. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I had a little technical difficulty. Apparently, I have forgotten. Hey, Faith. Faith, confirm that you can hear me, please. I've forgotten how to do Facebook Lives, apparently, since last week. So, yeah. But I want to share my card with you here today. I have a fun fold, and this is a tent fun fold. And I'll turn this to the side here. Thank you very much, Faith. Appreciate it. So I've got this little mechanism here that allows this card to stand up. So this makes a great display card. It stands up all on its own, but a pretty little card. And I'll share here with you the products that I've used. I have used the Light the Year bundle. And this is a stamp set and dies. And I've used quite a few images here, as well as a couple of the sentiments. I have used my Stylish Shapes dies for my sentiment label. If you don't have Stylish Shapes dies, I highly recommend you get them. They are wonderful. I use them almost daily. And I've also used the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder to get a little bit of background texture. I like the lantern too, Faith. I think it is so precious. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get some pieces out here for stamping. I've got actually quite a bit of stamping here to do. And let me grab, first of all, I'm going to grab my Memento ink and find my sentiment here. I have a lot of stamps lined up. Boy, do I have a lot of stamps lined up right now. I'm going to stamp the All is Bright sentiment here on my round die cut sentiment label. And let me just bring that here to the center, and hopefully I get a nice impression. And we will stamp that right in the center there of that circle, and that looks good to me. But you ought to see all the stamps I have lined up right now. All right, I'm going to take my piece of basic white cardstock, and you know, this one I am going to ink. I'm going to turn my stamp right side up and ink it this way. I found this stamp set does not say that it is distinctive. Hey, Amy, thanks so much for joining. I had a little problem getting started today. I forgot how to do Facebook Live since last week, apparently. Yeah. Whoa. Oh, boy, that would have been a catastrophe. I'm glad I didn't drop that face stamp. So I'm just inking up the large lantern from the Light the Year stamp set here onto a scrap piece of white cardstock. And I am going to grab my chamois and clean this stamp off, because I actually have a stamp sitting on the other side of this block. I was using so many stamps today for this card that I ran out of stamps. So this one stamp is doing double time here. I'm just going to peel that off, and so I'll have that ready to go here in a minute. And what else do I need for my memento? I need my envelope. So let me grab that. So I'm kind of just trying to stick here with one ink pad open at a time. But I'm going to stamp the small lantern onto my envelope front. And again, I'm going to pick this ink pad up. So as I started saying, this stamp set does not say that it is distinctive. However, it sure looks like it to me. And just going to stamp that little lantern there on the corner of my envelope. Okay, got that done. I know I'm jumping around here, but bear with me. Let me see here. I need to stamp my inside sentiment on my inside panel, which on this card is actually sits on the back. And the inside sentiment says, sending love and light this time of year. And I'll get that inked up. And let me just center my panel here. And hopefully I will. New stamp sets, you really have to, you know, I'm not liking that. I got kind of blotchy ink there, and I don't want blotchy ink. I have a really bad habit of jamming my stamps down on the block. But this one doesn't seem to want to ink up for me. We'll give it a try here. Let's try this and see how we do. But anyway, photopolymer stamps, when you first get them, you really need to clean them off good. Give them a good wipe with like a damp cloth. A film gets on them when they're new. And I would imagine it's part of the manufacturing process. But in order to alleviate issues with the stamps, give them a good scrub with your with a damp chamois or something, and that should help. Okay. Let's finish our inside panel. This is probably one of the easier ones, and the envelope. And then I've got the two pine bough stamps here. And I believe that these are two-step stamping. However, I didn't use them in that way. But I'm going to use both of these. And I'm going to ink them up with Old Olive ink. And I am just going to stamp some pine here. And I'm going to alternate them. So I'm using both of these. One's fuller than the other. So this is the fuller image. And I'm stamping back and forth just so that I can kind of balance the images out. I don't know that it matters all that much. But I wanted pine kind of at the top and bottom of my my inside panel here. So that's why I'm doing it this way. And we'll stamp there. And then I'm going to bring this big one in and stamp in the middle. That one and that one. All right. So that is our inside panel complete. Whoops, I didn't mean to close that up. I'm going to set that out of the way where it won't get into trouble and it can dry. Let me open this Old Olive back up because I'm not done. I'm going to pull in my envelope and I'm going to grab some Post-it notes here. And we have this nice straight edge here on the side of the lantern, and then we've kind of got a curved edge right there. I'm going to use Post-it notes to just, if I see a little of that black line on the left side of the lantern, I'm fine with that. And then I'm going to angle this second one just about like that. And again, if I see a little of the black, it's okay. And I'm just going to use one of my pine bough stamps here, but I am going to stamp some pine on either side of that lantern. Just like that. And then I'm going to carefully pick these up. They've got wet ink on them, so do be careful. And I'm going to go ahead and mask off the other side of the lantern. Try not to get ink on my envelope if I can help it. And then let's just put some pine here off to the side of the right side of the lantern. Just like that. Okay. And I can put those away. Alrighty, very good. That worked out. Phew. Okay, so that is the envelope, and we've got a little bit of coloring here to do. I think I am done now with, yeah, I'm done with that. So what I have done is I have pre-stamped and pre-colored and pre-die cut some of my pieces, but I did want to share with you how I have stamped these. And so that's why I'm doing this little piece of cardstock here, just to show you what I've done. So I've just grabbed some basic beige ink, and this is the little candle image that's going to sit inside of our large lantern. Now, basic beige is a light ink, but it's okay. That's the only thing I stamped in that color. And then let me grab, I think we're done with Old Olive now. I'm going to grab some Early Espresso and Pecan Pie. And so, as I mentioned, two-step stamps. This is the detailed image of the pine cone, and then this is the more solid image of the pine cone. I'm going to stamp 2 pine cones in Pecan Pie using the kind of fill image. Whoops, I got a little black smudge there. I don't know where that came from. That's all right. We'll stamp our pine cone up there. And then that is it for Pecan Pie. We will go to Early Espresso. And I need to make sure. So let me see here. Yeah, okay. So you'll see on the detailed pine cone image, and I know it's hard for you to see here. I'm trying to hold it close. But you'll see little kind of oval openings there. Those little oval openings line up with the light areas on the detailed stamp. So if I just kind of hover over, I'm looking to line up those light areas. Hopefully I got it. And then that fill just really gives a nice contrast. Line up the light areas. And there we go. So that is our pine cones. All right. So I did actually already take care of these. I am going to bring in some Stampin' Blends. We'll give these things. I did get ink on my envelope. Oh, darn it. I knew I would. So I've grabbed a Crumb Cake Stampin' Blend. This is the light shade. And I am going to come in and just, I'm coloring under the drips on the candle to darken that a bit. And I know this is really hard for you to see. But trust me when I say that you can see the contrast once the candle's cut out. So I'm leaving those little wax strips lighter. And then I'm going to use the dark shade of a Pumpkin Pie Stampin' Blend. And I am going to color in the flame of the candle. And then I'm going to use a basic black Stampin' Write marker. Yeah, the pine cones are pretty faith. I love them. All right, and I'm just going to darken the wick between the candle and the flame on our little candle here. And this is the dark shade of a Lemon Lolly Stampin' Blend. And I am just going to darken the left edge, the top, and the right edge of the window panes on the lantern. And that's really all the shading that I did for the lantern. And then I'm going to bring in the light shade of Lemon Lolly. And we'll just give this a color. So there is a lot going on at Stampin' Up! Right now. A lot for the month of October. I don't think I've ever seen so many promotions as I have in October. But we have a starter kit special going on right now. And let me just grab my scrap cardstock here. I keep a scrap piece of cardstock next to my Stampin' Blends. And I use that to slip inside the envelope when I'm coloring. And I want to give our little lantern here on the envelope front the kind of the same treatment that I did for the lantern that's going to be on our card front. And we'll just kind of color around the top and sides like I did before. And if you stamped in Memento or a dark ink, be careful coloring with these light Stampin' Blends You want to make sure that the ink is fairly well dry. Otherwise, it can kind of smudge that dark ink. So be careful. Just want to make sure it's dry. I think I'm going to need new Lemon Lolly Stampin' Blends here soon. And I'm just blending that dark a bit. I'm not going completely over it, but I am darkening it a bit. So that is it for our coloring. And can go ahead and, I have a sand eraser. I will try to get that ink out in a bit. I'm not going to try to do it right this second, only for the sake of time. All right, so here are all my pieces for my card. No, that's not true. I have more stamping to do. I have a little bit more stamping to do. I forgot to stamp my pine on this little square here. This square measures 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. It will be matted to a piece of black cardstock that measures 3 by 3. All these measurements, by the way, and instructions for the tent card will be on my blog tomorrow. But I can't believe I forgot to stamp this. So anyway, this is a square. Let me make sure it's square. Make sure I don't have a scrap piece of cardstock or something sitting in front of me. But I am going to stamp some pine. Just a couple of times on either side of my card. And I'm leaving a gap there in the center. Our lantern is going to be covering that. I just wanted some pine to show when we put our lantern on this little bit of a card here. All right, now I'm done stamping. Good grief. Okay, let me see here. Let me bring in some little pieces. So I told you that I went ahead and pre-stamped, colored, and die cut some pieces here just for the sake of time. I did die cut a couple of little leaf sprigs here, and I pre-cut the berries as well. And I went ahead and glued these berries onto these leaf sprigs just because that can be painstakingly slow. You know, when you're doing a video. So I didn't want to torture you guys and make you watch me glue multiple berries on tiny little leaf sprigs. All right, I'm going to use some liquid glue here. Let me use my tweezers. And we are going to use liquid glue to adhere the, whoa, my glue just gushed out. Let me grab something here to get that excess off. I don't need that much glue. I have been having issues. It is the darndest thing, but I have been having issues with my glues, and the glue just comes out the top all by itself. And I am not sure, you know what? And I am not going to mess with that. It's like when the bottles start getting empty, the glue just starts spouting kind of out the top all by itself. I'm not I'm not squeezing the glue bottle at all. Boy, I can't talk today. So I just grabbed a new glue bottle and hopefully, yeah. All right, so we're going to put our candle inside of our lantern, and I'm lining the bottom of that candle up with the bottom of the lantern. My goodness. And then I'm going to put my little leaf sprigs on. So I obviously want the leafy parts to hang down from the bottom of this little loop on the lantern. Yours does that too. You know, Amy, but I've never had that problem. It's just been, I'd say within the last month or so that's been happening. And I just don't know why. It is crazy. Alrighty, I am going to go ahead and get my little leaf sprigs with berries. You know I don't mind liquid glue. It doesn't bother me. I know some people don't like it. I know you don't like it, Amy. But I've just never had that happen before. And someone mentioned that it might be atmospheric, that's what causes the glue to kind of come out like that. I don't know for sure, but really perplexing for sure. Alrighty. Now I'm going to, I actually want to partially glue my little pine cones on either side of my lantern. So I'm just going to place a little tiny bit of glue there on just one side of my pine cone. And I just want them kind of peeking out. It needs to burp, right? I'm with you. I don't know. It's perplexing, but I just, I think I'm going to throw that bottle of glue in the trash. And I just pulled out a new one, so I was ready. I was ready for something anyway. All right, I don't want the pine cone, the bottom of the pine cone sticking down beyond this kind of center low point on my lantern. But yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and mat up this 2 7/8 inch square to a black mat. I love the look of red, black, and white at Christmas time. I think it's a very classic look. It's nice for Valentine's Day too, but for Christmas, I don't know. I just think it just adds, I don't know, it just looks elegant to me. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I like. Alrighty, we've got that matted up. I'm just looking for that even reveal around my panel. And tap that glue up here for a second. And I am going to grab my mini glue dots. And I am going to use those to stick my lantern onto my front panel. And get one here behind the pine cones, one in the center, and then another here behind. Whoops, I ran out. Let me grab some more. I need one more behind this other pine cone. There we go. And our lantern is going right here in the center of this little panel here. And I'm just trying to center that. And the loop at the top of this lantern is going to hang slightly over the top of the panel, and that's quite all right. All right, good. Okay, I went ahead and pre-embossed. A white panel measuring 5 1/4 by 4 inches, using the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. And if I turn that, look at all that beautiful texture and all the pretty snowflakes. I love this. Alrighty. Yeah, something about those colors, Faith, just scream elegance to me. And this card has a bit of gold on it, so that makes it even better in my opinion. Because this is a 3D embossing folder, I am applying a bit of glue here across the center of the panel. 3D embossing folders emboss rather deeply, and so you just want to make sure you're getting some good adhesion, and you don't want anything popping up. And again, I'm looking for that reveal all the way around between the panel and my mat, and that looks good to me. Alrighty, moving right along here. And so this is our card base, and I had started to explain that when I first made this 10 card, I put my little mechanism inside before I decorated the card. And let me pull out my finished card here. And so the whole time when I was like working on my card, I was fighting kind of the spring in that little mechanism on the inside of the card. You can see how it pops up. And so I thought this time I would try just putting that mechanism in towards the end and see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. But this is a standard card base top fold. This is 11 by 4 1/4 inches wide, and I have scored at 5 1/2. So just pretty standard. I'm going to go ahead and put my embossed panel on the card front here. And so I have another reveal here between the mat and the card base. So just make sure that is even. And that looks pretty good to me. Just give it a light press and make sure that is good. And then I've got another black mat for my inside or rear panel. It's really not going to go inside the card. This panel that you can write your message on is going to go in the back of the card, since this is a display card. So we will go ahead and get that glued up. So I was talking about the starter kit special. You can join Stampin' Up! During the month of October by purchasing a starter kit. You purchase the kit for $99, and during the month of October, you will get $155 worth of product in your starter kit for just $99. So that is a super value. That is what, $56 extra in your starter kit. We have some new online exclusives coming. So if you wanted to join during the month of October, you would be able to add those items to your starter kit, which is exciting. So early access to new items. The kit ships for free, so it's a pretty good deal. You can find details on my blog at inkybstampers.com. Love for you to join my team. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any and all questions or just to chat. Alrighty, so that is the back of our card. That is the front of our card. And then here is, I've got a little 3x3 piece of the, what did I say? Seasonal Elegance Specialty Designer Series paper. This square is cherry cobbler with some gold flecking on it. Yeah, the camera just caught it. You can see the gold flecks. You see it much better on this piece for the envelope. But beautiful, gorgeous paper. And I am going to just use some liquid glue to adhere this square onto the front of my card front. And this square is going to be straight up and down. And I'm going to try and leave an equal distance on the left top and right of this square. Do the best you can. Just kind of eyeball it. I always need to hold things up and kind of make sure that, whoops, that totally slipped on me. But this is why I like glue. Wow, that is really slipping. That's because of all that embossing. I'm trying to move it ever so slightly and it's slipping a lot on me. There we go. Okay, got that down. So we have our back panel on. We have our square on. And I am going to hold off putting this last square on. We will go ahead and prepare our little inside mechanism that makes this a 10-fold card. And so this little piece of cardstock, it matches the card base, measures, whoops, let's turn this around the right way. I'm right-handed. So this measures 4 1/4, which matches our card width. By 3 inches. So I'm going to turn it short side up, and I'm just going to use my paper trimmer, and I am going to score this just lining that up with a 1/2 inch. So the dark blade is our cutting blade. Don't use that one. The light gray blade is our scoring blade, and I'm going to score this at a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to slide it over to 1 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to score it one more time at 2 1/2 inches. So this makes the little mechanism that will keep your card as a 10-fold. Whoops, I'm sorry, I just hit my phone. This will you know, help your card stand up and keep it from splaying open. So let me look at my card here. So the 2 outer folds are valley folds. So a valley fold means that it dips in. Well, I'm holding it like a, yeah. Is that right? Yes. So valley folds. So those two outer score lines and those little 1/2-inch tabs are valley folds. And then the center fold is a mountain fold. So you can see valley, mountain, valley. And let me just give that a good burnish. And a little, you know, take your time doing this. But basically, I'm going to apply glue to this side and this side. And then that gets adhered inside the, whoops. Well, it would help if I turned it around the right way. That will get adhered just like that on the inside of our card. So let me go ahead and get my glue. You would have glued your fingers to the card front by now. See, Stampin' Seal, I struggle with it. I practice. I do use it. But Stampin' Seal to me, like when I go to put it down, it's like it wants to just suck to the paper. And then, of course, when I'm trying to get it up and reposition it, yeah. That's when I have trouble. All right, so let me focus here for a minute. You're making me laugh, Amy. So I am gluing this to the inside of my card, and I want it to be flush. So that little tab, if you can see it, right? I want it to be flush up underneath there. And then I'm going to open my card base up, and I'm going to carefully apply some glue. Now, another option, so Stampin' Seal Plus would work for this most likely. Tear and tape would definitely work. Look, I've got my new bottle of glue all gummed up already. All right. But tear and tape would definitely work. And then I'm going to just carefully close my card onto the glue section of that 1/2-inch tab and give it a press. And then we've got our tent mechanism, if you will, all ready to go on the card. But you could see how that could be problematic when you're when you're trying to decorate. Now, this card was designed for a sketch challenge, so my panel, right, when I decorated this little square, everything is, right, vertical and horizontal. But I am going to adhere it at an angle on my card front. This card is for a sketch challenge tomorrow for the Happy Inkin' Thursday blog hop. You should have seen me trying to decide, do I put the lantern on crooked? Do I put the panel on crooked? I didn't know what to do when I was making this card. But this is what I came up with, and I'm happy with how it turned out. So I'm just using some half Stampin' dimensionals here on the back of my square panel. And just get the covers off here. Also going on in the month of October at Stampin' Up, kits are up to 30% off in the kits collection. If you go to the online store and search for kits collection or online exclusives, you can see them there as well. Yeah, up to 30% off kits, so be sure to check that out. Alrighty, what do we have left? We've got our sentiment label, and I am going to place my sentiment label right down here. I am going to just put Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use white this time since our label is white. Whoops. I'm going to put them around the sides, one in the center. I'm going to leave some space up here because I want to add just a drop of glue. The sentiment is going to slightly overlap my my square that I have popped up there. So right about there, right on the corner of this lantern is where that label's going to sit. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a tiny bit of glue there. And we'll get the covers off the dimensionals on the sentiment label. So we've talked about the starter kit special, the sale on kits in the kits collection. Through tomorrow, October 10th, if you use the promo code HOLIDAY40, you'll be able to get the Nest of Christmas paper pumpkin kit for 40% off, which is an awesome deal. Well, let me make sure that I'm getting my sentiment here straight. I think that's good. Let me take a look at it. That looks good to me. Give that a press down. So yeah, you can get that particular paper pumpkin kit for 40% off, but the deadline is tomorrow, 11:59 Mountain Time, if you're doing an online subscription to Paper Pumpkin. So Paper Pumpkin is such a good option. I love receiving my Paper Pumpkin kit in the mail. I just love receiving it. All right, so what we have left here is to decorate the front of our card. And I've got here some opal rounds assortment. And there are these kind of pretty clear opal rounds. They have a bit of shimmer. And I'm going to go ahead and pop a few of these onto my little square here on the card front. And we'll put one there. And let's grab a small one and put it... let's put one right there. And then I'll grab another small one and maybe put that right down here. And that is it for embellishments. And I want to tie a little ribbon to add to the top of my lantern. If I've gone over today, sorry guys. It's just, I just was having a block about how to go live today. So this is Cherry Cobbler and Gold satin ribbon. This ribbon really ties nice, but I will tell you that because it's satin, it is very slippery. Yeah, it doesn't want to, there we go. Okay. But very pretty ribbon. I really like this ribbon. It just ties so pretty. Let me grab my snips here and go ahead and give that a bit of a trim. There we go. I didn't have my ribbon scissors out, but these seem to work fine. And if you need to, you know, manipulate your bow a little bit, this ribbon is great for allowing you to do that. Some ribbons aren't so forgiving, you know, if they're thicker in nature, but this is a nice thin ribbon. And so if you need to manipulate or twist and turn your ends of your ribbon or your bow, it works out just fine. Alrighty, there we go. So we've got a pretty little lantern. There's the back side of our card, and it stands up for display. So win-win. And the only thing we have left to do is to put some of the designer series paper onto, whoops, that's the finished envelope. Let's get the one that's not finished. The one where I smudged the ink. I'll have to go back and fix that. I think the sanded eraser will take it out. Oh, thank you, Faith. Appreciate it. And some more liquid glue here to put on our little decoration for our envelope flap. And so, yeah, there's still more going on here at Stampin' Up. I did the paper pumpkin. Today is the last day of a 3-day stamp sale event. Stamps from the 2024 to 2025 annual catalog right now are 15% off. So if you have had your eye on something, you know, be sure to check out those stamp sets. Those are only the stamp sets for from the 2024-2025 annual catalog. And the stamp sale does not include bundles, just the stamp sets from that catalog. So that is a good savings. But we have just had like a ton of stuff going on at Stampin' Up this month, which is great. I mean, I think people right now are looking for a bargain, you know. And when you can get a percentage off of something you love, then power to you. All right, just get around that one little curve here on my envelope, and we are done. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Let me prop this up so you can see it. But that is our card for today. A tenfold holiday card using the Light of the Year bundle. Oh, thank you, Marion. Appreciate it. I didn't see you join. Thanks so much. Thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. Listen, you'll have a great rest of the week. Please keep the folks that have been affected by Hurricanes Helene and Milton in your prayers. Milton is expected to make landfall in Florida tonight on the West Coast. And Helene, folks are still really struggling from Hurricane Helene. It's been a double whammy for folks, but just keep those people in your prayers, all the first responders, linemen, police officers, everyone that volunteers, all those that are helping out as well. All right, everybody, listen, I will see you next week at 1 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of the day and a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.